One day, Percy was talking to James in the shed at the big station. "My guard was telling me how lonely he is in his brake van," he said. "I think he ought to take passengers sometimes to cheer him up." "He's not allowed to," said James virtuously. "It's against regulations. Guards are important, and passengers might distract them so they can't look after the train properly." "Oh dear," said Percy. "Yes, I suppose they might." "They do it on the mainland," put in Gordon, "but they don't on the other railway. It's on some preserved lines where they don't have any coaches." "You see, James?" said Percy triumphantly. "Oh, well, if they don't have any coaches, that's different," said James huffily. "I'm sure Sir Topham Hatt wouldn't approve." "Pah, little you know," said Percy, and he puffed away to collect some trucks from the harbor. Meanwhile, on Thomas's branch line, some passengers got out of Henrietta at the station by the airfield. They all went through the ticket barrier, except for a man and a woman. "Ah, you've come too far, I'm afraid," said the ticket inspector when he looked at their tickets. "You should have gotten off at the last station." The man and woman looked at him, then at each other, and shook their heads. "The last station? You must go back." There was a pause. Then, the man said something to his wife in a language the ticket inspector didn't understand. So, he took the man and his wife to find the station master. A short time later, Percy came puffing happily along the branch line with his trucks from the harbor. He saw the signal outside of the station by the airfield was a danger, and the station master standing on the platform, waiting. "Oh dear, there must have been an accident," thought Percy as he stopped. "I hope nobody's hurt." The station master came over with 2 other people. "I'm giving the guard to these 2 passengers to travel in his van," he told Percy's driver. Who are they?" asked Percy. "They're foreigners who came too far on Toby's train by mistake. Will you stop at Elsbridge and let them off, please?" Percy was puzzled. "Passengers?" he said as his guard took them to the brake van. "But this is a goods train." "That's right, Percy," replied the station master. "They're going to travel with the guard in his van." "But James says it's against it's not allowed." The station master laughed. "Quite right, Percy, so it is, but I don't think James or Sir Topham Hatt would mind us helping 2 foreign visitors who can't understand our language, do you?" That made it right, of course. The guard saw that his visitors were as comfortable as he could make them in his van. And a few minutes later, they reached Elsbridge. The man and woman walked to the front of the train to see Percy and his crew. They nodded and smiled and shook hands with Percy's driver and fireman. Then the guard showed them to a taxi that was waiting to take them on the rest of their journey. A few weeks later, a parcel arrived with brightly colored foreign stamps on the wrapping. Inside, there were warm new scarves and gloves for Percy's driver, fireman, and guard. There was also a letter addressed to Sir Topham Hatt, saying how splendid his railway was. Percy didn't tell James about his passengers. After all, it might make him jealous, said Percy to himself, and that would never do.